Hello, I'm Jane, chocolatier at Davenport's Chocolates. Today on Chocolate TV, I'm going to show you how to make a chocolate Christmas wreath. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to use one of our chocolate wreath making kits. In your kit, you will get a large piece of greaseproof paper, 2 smaller pieces of greaseproof paper with some stencils, 2 plastic piping bags, a further piping bag that's got truffle mixture inside. You'll get a very big bag of chocolate buttons, a little pot of shimmer sparkle decoration powder and a little brush, some chocolates to eat along with your activity, some decorations to go on your wreath, and you will get some chocolate spheres. Firstly, we're going to pipe the truffles. The first thing we're going to do to pipe the spheres is to unwrap them. They're just packed in bubble wrap, so just very carefully snip them out. You can tip them over and they shouldn't come out of the packets because they've got 2 little bits of sellotape at the end, so you just need to prise the 2 sections apart and then guide your scissors through to just snip those bits off, and then you can pull the lid off, just prising any that have stuck on the lid down. And you can just snip the other end as well. And then we've also got a piping bag of truffle mixture here, which we're just going to heat in the microwave very briefly just to soften it up a little bit more. But we want to be careful we don't get it too hot so that it doesn't melt the chocolate spheres. So I'm going to put it in the microwave just for 10 seconds for the moment. That's just enough to warm it a little bit. You want to squidge it in the bag just to mix it all up and check that the warmth is evenly distributed. And then the end is twisted to keep it all in place. If you can give that an extra twist before we cut the end off. And then cut the end about a 3mm hole, just straight level with the piping bag. And then that's ready to pipe. So what you want to do is to put the piping bag right down into the hole and squeeze with this back hand. So my other hand, my left hand, is just supporting it very gently, but the pressure is coming from the back. And then again. And you want to be careful that you don't overfill the truffle spheres because we're going to seal the top with a little dome of chocolate. So if you can leave a concave gap with the truffle mixture at the top of the sphere. You want to get it as full as possible so that there's not any air bubbles in. So if you're inserting the piping bag right into the mixture as it pipes, and then gently lift it up as the level flows upwards. And if you find that the piping bag has got particularly hard, if it's got particularly cold in transit, then you could give it an extra 10 seconds as well. Now, as I'm just nearing the end of filling these truffle spheres up, I'll still have a little bit mixture left that I'm going to use for any top-ups that I need to. But first of all, I'm just going to give the tray a bit of a shake. So lift it at the sides and just tap it down, and it will just show if there's any that need topping up a bit. So again, you can put your piping bag right through into the mixture and give a gentle squeeze just to top them up a little bit. But you can see there's no truffle spheres that are bulging with mixture. If you have done some that are bulging with mixture, just scrape them off either with your finger or thumb or with a teaspoon so that you do have that concave shape, and that will be able to be sealed really well with some chocolate later on. Right, we're just going to set those aside now while we create the rest of the wreath so that they can be setting as much as possible. Secondly, we're going to melt the chocolate ready for the decorations. The second stage is to create these little fern branches that are all the way around the wreath. So we're going to melt some chocolate and then pipe those with the stencils that I provided. So the first thing we're going to do is to take the pack of chocolate buttons, and you want to put about 1/3 of this pack into your heat-proof bowl. And then you have a choice of how to heat this. You can either heat it over a pan of boiling water and set it on there and then just be stirring it. We want to stop heating it when about 1/3 of the chocolate buttons are still remaining in lumps. And then we would take it off the heat and stir the remainder into the molten liquid, the molten chocolate. The other way to do it is microwaving it, which is what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to microwave this for a burst of 30 seconds to begin with. My microwave is 900 watts. If you've got a lower wattage, you might want to do it for a little bit longer. If it's higher, just watch the power that it doesn't get too hot. The crucial thing is that we don't overheat it. So even though this doesn't look as though it started melting, I'm still going to stir it because it's quite likely that they have all started heating. And the most important thing with melting the chocolate is that it doesn't overheat. We want to keep it under about 32 degrees. I know you don't have a thermometer, so I'm going to help you guide you to that temperature without a thermometer. So we're going to do it for another 30 seconds now. So after another 30 seconds, I can feel the bowl is really quite warm now, but you won't see much change in structure of a lot of the buttons, but they will have started to melt. So I'm going to give them a good stir around again, and then this time we're going to go for 20 seconds. So after another 20 seconds, again, they're just beginning to get a little bit more molten. One of the reasons that we're doing it in such small batches of heating it in the microwave is just so that it doesn't become untempered, which makes the chocolate unstable. So this chocolate's now had 2 blasts of 30 seconds and 2 blasts of 20 seconds. And it's really beginning to melt a little bit more now. It's getting a lot more fluid. And the reason I'm just doing it more slowly as we're getting more to the fact that it's nearly all melted is because it's so crucial that we don't overheat the chocolate. The chocolate that I've provided in the bags is already tempered, which means it will set with a shine and it's really stable. If we overheat the chocolate, it will lose that shine when it sets and it will take a long time to set. So we really want to make sure that we don't overheat it. So you can see it's really getting quite lumpy. And this time I'm just going to give it a 10-second blast. So after this 10-second blast, this is really much more what I'm looking for. There's some lumps still in there, but actually they're beginning to stir away. And I'm not going to put it in the microwave until I've seen if this stirring will get rid of all those lumps. So you can see there's several lumps still. Now you don't want to over stir the chocolate, but you do want to give it a good chance to melt. So just for this last little bit, I'm just going to use a whisk because that will just break the chocolate buttons that are remaining much more quickly. So the point you need to look out for is just when you think it's fluid enough that it will melt the remaining lumps that are in there. And the temperature that you're looking for is about 30 degrees, as I mentioned. Without having a thermometer, the closest way that you can assess that is by testing it against your body temperature. Obviously, your external body temperature can vary a lot, so putting your finger in it wouldn't be very good and not very hygienic. But what you can do is get a spoon and put some in your mouth, which won't be too much of a hardship, and just see if it feels cooler than your mouth. And if it does, it's probably about the right temperature, because our body temperature is about 36, 37. So it just wants to feel a little bit cooler than our mouth inside. Next, you're going to need to find one of your piping bags. There's 2 plastic piping bags in the pack, so we're going to use one of those. You need to get a mug or a similar vessel that we can put our piping bag in so that we can fill it up with chocolate. I'm putting my thumbs inside and just opening it out. And then I'm just going to put my hand down the middle to open that out as well and place that in the cup. And then we're going to pour the melted chocolate in. Just want to shake that down a little bit so that the chocolate goes down to the bottom. And before you cut a hole in the bottom, you want to really twist this round so that it holds it tightly. I normally hold it between my finger and my thumb. Some people like to hold it like that. But however you hold it, you need to twist it and keep a good grip of that. And then we're going to trim about a 2 to 3 mil hole again in the end of this piping bag as well. Just a couple of tips for using the piping bag. If you keep it held this way up, obviously it won't dribble out, but chocolate will be fluid such that if you tip it this way up, it will just begin to dribble. So when you're having a rest, when you're not using it, just keep it that way up. So you next need to get your stencil of the fern branches and place one of the smaller sheets of greaseproof paper on the top. And then again, like when we were piping the truffle mixture, you want to use your left, or whichever way you are handed, you want to use your support hand just to hold the weight of the piping bag, and you want to squeeze from the back. So you want to use it with the point of the, oh, it's just set up a little bit while I've been waiting, so I'm just going to squeeze that end out. So you might find that happens while you're doing it. And then you just need to try and follow those lines to make some fern branches. Go from the outside of the fern branch to the middle. And this is obviously meant to look quite organic, so all the shapes can be different. They don't need to be exactly like these templates. If you come across any little blockages, just squeeze them out into the bowl. Now, when I'm piping this, I'm obviously working quite quickly, and the faster you can go, the less likely your chocolate is to set in the piping bag while you're working. If you do find it begins to set up, you can just take your whole piping bag and put it in the microwave for another 10 seconds. And if you don't have a microwave, you could just put a little clipper over the end and submerge it in some hot water just for a little while, just to warm the chocolate back up. Again, you wouldn't want to overheat it, but just if it's beginning to get too stiff. And we're not actually going to use all the chocolate in this piping bag. We've just done a certain amount so that it will keep its heat. We'll use some of it for the base as well. And if you do want to pipe any other shapes, you can as well. So if you want to pipe any stars or bells or anything else, you can pipe them too. You're going to need 2 sheets worth, I think, of decorations. So if you can manage to do another sheet, that's great, but it won't look at all bad if you can only manage a few as well. If you're finding it a little bit taxing, just do what you can. And if you find it's beginning to get a little bit clogged up here, if you squeeze a good section of it out, the chocolate will have remained much warmer in this middle section. So if you squeeze a good amount out, it'll just mean that it will flow much better again once you've been using it for a little while. You may also like to just pipe a little bell, so I've just done a little stencil of that. And this one you need to pipe the outline and then fill it in afterwards. So a little hook on top and a little bobble at the bottom, and then the rest just zigzag to fill it all up. And then you can just very delicately shake the paper and it will just get rid of some of those piping marks, make it a little bit. And then if you want to make any adjustments, I'm just going to drag a bit more out to that corner just to make it a little bit more like the bell. There we go. The other thing you want to do while you've still got your piping bag with a small nozzle is to close off the truffle spheres. So you need to, again, put your piping bag quite close to the end. If you've got a bit of a blockage, give it a little squeeze out again. And then just pipe a circle. Just squeeze from the back. Just keep your piping bag in one place and the chocolate will flow into a bit of a puddle that will cap it off. What I haven't already mentioned is that we did also provide a box of chocolates with your wreath making kit, and those are just simply for you to either eat along whilst you're making it or to keep if you can save them and serve it when you've created your wreath at the end, but please do enjoy those. Thirdly, we're going to plan the arrangement of the decoration of the wreath. The reason we need to give this a little bit of consideration is because once we pipe the chocolate in the big ring, we're going to put the decorations on while the base is still molten before it sets. So it's also going to be the glue with which we stick everything on. So you need to get your spheres from the fridge, you need to get your little ferns, and you need to release those from the paper. They'll be a little bit stuck and you can just get them off with a knife and just check that they're released, and that will just help you pick them up quite quickly when you need to. And you also need to get your decorations, which are in little packets. And it's worth just undoing those now and putting them in little ramekins so that they're going to be easy to use. So this is a mix of lovely different decorations, and in the other packet we've got some gold dusted white chocolate buttons. So you just want to have those to hand as well. So for the wreath itself, you want to consider where you're going to put your spheres. You can either put them a little bit haphazardly, like I've done on this design, alternating whether they're near the centre of the ring or at the outer of the ring, or you could decide to put them all around the outer rim or all around the inner rim, or indeed in the middle. When we pipe the chocolate, it's going to set at the outsides first, so anything that you want to put near the outside you'll need to place on especially quickly. And when we put the spheres on, they really need to be sunk down quite firmly so that they really stick into the chocolate. Stage 4, we're going to melt the chocolate for the base. So we're now ready to melt the chocolate for the base of the wreath. You can use another third of the bag. So if you tip that into the bowl that's already got the residue from when we were piping before, we've provided extra chocolate here so that if you need to repeat any stage, you've got some left here if the tempering needs extra chocolate. And what we're going to do with this is exactly the same as before. We're going to temper it either in the microwave or on the hob on a bain-marie, and just in short bursts, so that just heats it up really slowly. And if it's a little bit thick, you could just put it in for a few more seconds right at the end, but just do it as slowly as you can, and then we'll be ready to pipe the base. So you again want to find this point where the chocolate is quite molten, but you've still got lots of lumps in there that really need to smooth out. And just the residual heat from the molten chocolate should just melt down the last of those lumps. And again, if you want to use a whisk just to help those merge into the molten chocolate more quickly. If you haven't, it'll just take a little bit longer, but don't worry. You don't want to whisk for too long. You don't want to incorporate air into it. You just want to get it nice and smooth. I'm just stirring it with the whisk there till it's nice and smooth. And then we're ready to put it in a piping bag. So once you've got all that chocolate into the piping bag, you want to give it a really good twist at the end to get that nice and tight again. And then you want to cut a bigger end in the end this time. So you're wanting a nozzle of at least 1 centimetre, possibly a little bit more. You can just flatten that out so that you don't lose too much chocolate there. And it's really going to flow quickly this time when it comes out because it's a big nozzle and it's really fluid. So you just need to be confident. Just trust yourself. You're just going to be drawing a circle and repeating it several times to make your wreath. And you want your your piping to overlap a little bit, but if it looks a little bit organic and a little bit different, that's fine. And then you also halfway through probably want to tighten your piping bag up again. So retwist the end of the nozzle and then go back in again. So I'm going to stop there. So the truffle spheres need to go on, turning them upside down so that the cap is covered. There's a few spare just for me to eat later of those. And then the ferns can go on. It's nice if they can protrude a little bit outside the wreath. So I'm going to put mine all facing the same direction and just protruding a little bit. I'm putting the biggest items on first and then the smaller items on afterwards. So the spheres and the ferns can both go on. I'm going to put my bell at that bit there, and then you want to put your decorations on. So I'm going to scatter these gold ones all over. And you just want to work quickly and decisively. So trying to work before the chocolate sets so that everything will glue on really well. So already I can see the chocolate is setting at the edges, certainly in the middle, and it is just a stage in which if you can get everything on before it sets, that will make your life a lot simpler. If you haven't managed to get everything on before it sets, you can use this bag of the remaining chocolate just to temper another little batch up, or you can use this just to use as glue. So squeeze a tiny bit on your decorations and then just pop them on. So you've got a little bit of leeway to do that as well. Finally, dry brushing the spheres. So the finishing touches are just to add a little bit of sparkle powder with a dry brush technique. So we've got a little brush and you just need to apply a little bit of the sparkle powder onto your brush and then just to dry brush it wherever you'd like to. So it might be on the spheres to make them a little bit shimmery. You might want to pick out a bit of detail from the fern branches. You only want a little bit of powder on your brush just to highlight something. So don't overdo the sparkle powder. And just brush it in. Any crumbs that are just loose from your brush, just go over them with the brush until they're all brushed in. It's a lovely therapeutic part of the final creation. I really hope you've enjoyed making this chocolate wreath, and I hope that you found the video helpful. If you would like to see any more videos like this, do subscribe to our YouTube channel, Davenport's Chocolates, or find Chocolate TV on our website, and we will hope to be doing more videos like this in the future. Also, if you've made one of these wreaths, we would love to see your creations, so please do post it on social media, and we'd love to see what you've been up to. And finally, a happy Christmas from us all here at Davenport's Chocolates.